Good afternoon. Welcome to Facebook Live. So I'm a couple minutes late because, well, I was looking over my Christmas necklaces, trying to decide which one I wanted to wear today. And then all of a sudden I looked at the time and I was like, oh no, I have to go live. Do you ever do that? Probably not, right? Just me. All right. So we're just gonna get set up and ready to go here. And yeah, we're gonna get all the things. Okay, there we go. We're getting going here. All right. So this is my monthly video to show you how to put together the 8-card kit. So the 8-card kit is a package by mail, and I'll show it to you here in just a second. And it's just a bundle of fun is really what it is. So that's what I'm going to do today. But Patricia says finally. I know, I'm a couple minutes late. So I was wearing, for the last few days, I was wearing this necklace, right here. It's all Christmas lights. And this is because, right here, so it turns on. There's like 3 different settings. But I was out of state, and so I only had that one with me, and so that's what I was wearing. And so I was sitting here this morning waiting for, time to go live. I was like, I should change my necklace. So I switched over to this one because I have snowmen in my shirt. So anywho, let's get going on this video here. Give me just a second here. Gotta fix that. There we go. Okay, I think we are ready to get started. So this is the 8-card kit by mail, and it is a package of fun that comes to you each month. If you subscribe, you can also just buy a one-time purchase if you want the kit. And this kit, this month, I am featuring Hobby Haven, which is the name of the paper, and then the Creative Haven bundle, which I'll show you more in just a second. But it comes with the embellishments and the ribbon, and there's 8 card kits here. And then this month I left the paper 12 by 12 because the paper comes with a sheet of die cuts. And so I wanted to just, rather than have to pop them all out for you, I wanted to just give you a whole sheet of die cuts. And so I just left the paper whole too. It just made more sense. So, and you can see the ribbon here, I think from the side, maybe like this, there we go. And I'll be showing you that ribbon. This is one of the extra kits, so if you're interested in it, just let me know. And that reminds me, I'm gonna grab my ribbon. All right, so this is the what do we call this? Garden green and white chevron ribbon, and it's a really narrow ribbon. Let me see it. Does it tell me? It's 1/8 of an inch. So it's a very narrow ribbon, but I really like it. It's really pretty, and so you get that in your kit. And then there's also these earthy matte dots, and they come in a few different colors here, so we're going to use those in our cards as well. We're also going to be doing some heat embossing today. So I'll show you how to do that. I'm gonna wait and do that for my last card so that I can just clean up the mess when we're done with the video. But this is the bundle that we're using this month. So this is a new bundle that just came out this month called Creative Haven. And since I was able to order it last month, I was able to do all the die cutting for you and include that in the kits, because you can see we've got some really fun labels that come in this kit, and then a variety of stamps. So I'm going to go ahead and open this and grab my stamps here, because we're going to need these for our cards today. In fact, we'll go ahead and take You're the Best, and I think that's the only one I'm using for this first card, so we'll just put that here. All right, so for our first card, using that really fun Hobby Haven paper. So we've got our sewing machine and some thread and paintbrush and paint here. We're gonna do this kind of accordion fold card. I'm putting a tag in the middle. Okay, so let me get these pieces here. Here we go. So we are gonna take our card base and my trimmer, and I'm gonna score this at 5.5. So we've got our card base, and then I'm gonna take my designer series paper here, and I'm gonna score this real gently here. We're just gonna put 4 score lines in it. So 2 3/4, 3 1/4, 4 1/4, and 4 3/4. Okay. So that will give me, if I accordion fold on those score lines, there we go. You can see how that gives me my little accordion fold here. But first what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a little angle, and let's see here. And I'm just doing it random. So I'm going from the very innermost score line up to the edge of my paper here. And I just picked a random spot to do it at. So you can do more or less however you would like to do that. So we'll have that paper ready to go. I suppose I probably did mine not quite halfway up. So that's kind of where I was cutting that, that piece. All right, now I'm gonna grab my bone folder so we can crease this down really well. There we go. And I'm going to take my hobby paper now and attach this here. So I'm gonna look. I know my sewing machine is right side up, but oh no, I do have to keep it directional. I was trying to decide if I could use the bottom of it instead of the top, but we're gonna stick with the top. So I'm just going to be attaching my designer series paper here to the front. So I'm gonna, oh my goodness, where's my tape? Oh, you know what? I was just at a craft retreat and I packed all my tape. Let's see here, what can I use? Oh, here we go. Let's try this. We'll use some of this. Oh, maybe there's no tape in it. Oh no, I think it's gonna work. Okay, and then I'll stick a little bit here. So I'll start with adhering to this side, all the way to the side, all the way to the bottom, and then adhering this so that it's even here. There we go. So my accordion flaps are a little loose here, and I'm okay with that. If you're not, you could absolutely tape those down too. But you'll see with some of the next steps that we're gonna do, it's gonna be held down, so I'm not worried about it, like for mailing or anything like that. Because, for example, what I'm next gonna do is I'm gonna take this strip and I am going to add that to my accordion fold. So that's part of what is holding it down here. So we'll just tape that down there. And now that we have that, let me grab my card base here and I'll fold that in half. And we will adhere this to the front of our card. There we go. Okay, so we get a little peek of, you know, we've got some thread going on down here and some needles, and I like how it just kind of peeks out behind the accordion fold. You could also use a shorter piece in the background if you don't want that to show. If you want your card base to show, you know, you could just cut that corner off of the background piece. So you definitely have some options there. And then included in your kit, well, before I get there, I'm also going to take this piece, and even though I already folded it, it is going to, let's see if we can just apply a little bit of tape here to the tiny little corner here. A little tape around the front. There we go. Okay. Uh-oh, I got something on the inside of my card base. Must have been something dirty on my desk. Okay, so I'm just gonna tape down this extra corner that I cut off. I'm gonna put that on the inside of my card, just like that. And then I'm not stamping on the inside, but what I am doing, instead of putting a white insert, I am putting a little tag, which is included in your kit. One of the tags from the die set. And I'm just going to put that here for my message. So a great little option when you're not sure what to say or you don't have much to say, you can just put a smaller tag on the inside of your card. Okay, so then I'll take my Coastal Cabana, and we're using You're the Best. So a nice little maybe gratitude card. Let's see. And we'll just stamp that down here. Okay. And I need some dimensionals. So I'll dimensionalize my tag. And we're going to set that on the front. I'm just going to kind of angle it here. And then we'll take our earthy dots, and I'm going to cover up this little hole because I'm not planning to put a bow or tag or anything or a ribbon through it. So we're just going to cover it up with a little embellishment, and then I'll add a couple on my banner there, banner strip. And so here we've got our first card. Okay, so You're the Best accordion fold card. All right, next I've got a few fun folds here today. So next we're gonna do this card. And I saw the paper, I was going through the different designs, and they have this design, excuse me, that has books all over it. So cute. And so naturally I thought of the book binding fold, because, you know, books and books, it just goes together. So, and then just adding some color behind each of the panels. Now the lamp and the coffee cup are part of that ephemera that I told you about, that was in this, this paper pack. So I just popped those out and decorated that sample card with. All right, so I am going to take my trimmer here, and we're gonna have to score it. We're gonna do 4 1/4 and then 5 1/2. So we'll take that out, and then I've got my designer series paper. Now what I've done is I've left it whole when I first cut it, and then I can just cut 1 inch off my left side, because that way my pattern stays together, because I want it to just be a continuation of the pattern, since these books are just so cute. So we're just gonna cut 1 inch off the side. Okay. right. So then I can go ahead and fold my card base. There we go. And let me grab, we're gonna do, got my tag, and I've got 2 of these petal pink ones here, so we're just gonna use one of those to stamp on. And try to just move those out of the way. There we go. Oh, there is some dirty stuff on my desk. We'll just wipe that onto the floor. How about that? All right, so I'm going to use Lost Lagoon. Now, before you start stamping, one thing you want to plan out is what ephemera. Oh, I gotta take a drink. Okay, so we want to know what ephemera we're going to use on this card. Now, you can fussy cut out of the paper, or you can just pop out some of the ephemera that's in it. And there was this coordinating stack of books. And I'm saying you want to plan it out because it helps you to know where you want to stamp your words. So I think I'm going to put the pile of books, I'm thinking right there. So I need to grab, where's my stamp set? Oh, here we go. So happy to have you in my life. And this one, which, let's see, I don't remember what this says. This says, you deserve all the good things. So we're gonna take those 2. And I've got a couple of blocks sitting here. So I'll block those, and I'm using Lost Lagoon ink. So I can stamp my words there. And then I'm also going to stamp, so the petal pink is going to become my insert. I don't need to have white because the petal pink is a nice light color, so it's easy to write your message on. So I can just use that as my insert color because it's also the color I'm going to put behind my designer's raised paper. Now, I like to go ahead and tape my insert down before, on this particular design, I like to tape it down before I am gonna put down my book spine because it's just easier to get it inside that way. So we'll add our adhesive, and then I can just come over here to the right side and I can look for even borders on 3 sides. And I got a few fuzzies there from my blade. So I'm just using 1/8 inch borders on this card. So real tiny borders. But there, I can just put that right down on the inside of my card. And now what I'll do is I will tape down this spine. So I'll just put my adhesive between my score lines and then close my card. Once I've done that, I can fold backwards on the second score line, and now we have our book fold card. Okay? So now we'll begin to decorate the front of our card. So I've got my 1-inch strip that we cut off of our panel. Ooh, I like that backside too. I could have mixed and matched this as well. It looks like paint splotches there. But I'm gonna stick with the book look. Oh, I just rhymed. I didn't even mean to. If you didn't get this month's kit and you're still interested in it, just let me know. You can either start a subscription and get it automatically every month, which also means you'll earn free product, or you can just do a one-time purchase and get the kit for this month. Next month, we're going to use another new set called Banner Sayings, and it comes with a super cute punch, and then I'm pairing it with the beautiful pattern embossing folder. So got a bunch of embossing to do so that I can send you guys embossed pieces with your kit. All right, got tiny, tiny little borders here. But I love it with just a little hint of pink coming out from behind, because there's so much petal pink and Lost Lagoon in this paper. It just makes for a great color combination. All right, there we go. So then I will take my books and we'll add our books to our tag here. And then I'm going to dimensionalize that whole thing onto my card front. And because this one, I really want the Designer Series paper to be the star of the show, so I'm just sticking this down here in the little corner so that I can let the Designer Series paper really shine, because I just think it's so cute. And then adding that extra little stack of books right there. So happy to have you in my life. You deserve all the good things. So, and I'll bring back my sample here for a second, because I did the lamp and the coffee cup on this one. Oh, and you know what? We need to add some bling here. So I'm gonna do this one and that one, and then put this one over here. There we go. There we go. So now we've got our bling for our second card. Okay, our next fun fold is going to be this one. And there's a lot of pieces to this card. So the one thing to know about these 8 card kits, I do not cut your Designer Series paper for you. So that's why you're getting a whole half a pack. Because that way you can mix and match your patterns as you would like to. So just know that. So that you're not surprised when you get your kit and it doesn't have anything cut. Well, cardstock is cut. The Designer Series paper is what I don't cut. All right, so I've got, I think it's just these two. I just need to score my 2 folds. So we're gonna score our garden green at 5 1/4. And then I'm gonna score my Coastal Cabana at 4. If you ever miss a measurement or a score line or anything like that, they're also in the PDFs that you get sent with the kit. So, all right. So we've got that piece, and we've got the garden green. There we go. All right, so lots of pieces here. And then we will take our tag. Let's see, I'm gonna stamp this one and I'm gonna stamp this one. Okay. So I'm gonna use the same one I was just using. I think it'll fit on here. Let me see. Yeah. So this time I'm stamping in Secret C. And this little tag is from the ephemera that's in the Designer Series paper pack. So I've just picked a little tag there. And then for the other one, I need, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and just take off the last 2. Oh, well, no. No, maybe not. We'll take this one. I need that one. You know what? We're using every stamp except one in these card kits. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pull them off here. Okay, I need a slightly larger block. Let me grab that here to do our big one. And then we'll go ahead and just block these other ones so they're ready for the last card. I need one more block. have to block everything separate this time because my chamois is all dried up, and so I didn't get it re-wet before I started my video, so I can't clean my seams off right now. Okay, that's a little tall, but I think I can still get a good clean stamping, so otherwise I might switch to a different block. We'll see. But for now, I'm going to do this one, which says, "Friends like you are golden." And part of the reason for this one, it was actually a last minute addition to this card because I accidentally die cut extra tags, and so I was trying to figure out a way that I could use them in one of the cards, and this is the one that we're using it on. There we go. So just press that down. Give it a nice good pressure all the way around. There we go. And then we'll close up our ink pad so we don't get our hand in it. Okay. So now I can come back to my card and I can begin putting some pieces on here. So we'll start with our background designer series paper. This one's kind of fun. This one has like kitchen stuff, so if you're into like cooking and baking, or you have a friend who is, that paper is really good for that. But I really like the other side as just a nice background for my card. So I'm just going to put that here on the inside. And then I've also included a little embossed piece of Secret Sea. And we'll put that on the front flap here. There we go. And so then I can adhere all of this together. And we'll just stick it on our card base, which is Coastal Cabana. And this color combination is coming from this piece of designer series paper that we're going to be using. So that's where I'm kind of getting my color inspiration from. All right, so I'm going to take our tag that we stamped. Now this particular design does not leave you a whole lot of room to write a message. So I'm making use of both panels on the inside of my card. And so I'm going to put a white insert, and we're going to draw the pattern from the front to the inside of our card. There we go. And, oh, didn't get tape right there. Let's see here. See if we can set a little, there we go. Okay. So we got a nice little spot to write our message. So then we'll take this entire thing, well, actually, I'll go ahead and put this on the front. This here. There we go. Okay, so now I've got this folded little mini card. So we'll take that and I'm going to center it on my card front. So I'm going to open up this flap and we're just going to center it here. Just like that. But you can see how that color combination ties in really nicely. And we've got the Secret Sea from the pots. So that gives us our little fun fold. And so then I want to add my tag here. And I don't want to cover up too much stuff because I love this kind of scene of the chair with the plants and just kind of a relaxing place to sit. So I'm going to put it down here in the bottom corner. So I'm trying to just envision where I'm going to want my adhesive, because it is going to stick off of my flap, so I don't, in this corner. So I don't want adhesive in the wrong spot, because then my card is going to get stuck closed. Let's see here. There we go. So we'll put that little tag on here. And then I'm going to take some of our chevron ribbon, and I'm going to tie a little bow with it. And it makes such cute little bows, you guys. Because it's such a narrow ribbon, it just, you're going to see, it just makes such really cute bows. Okay, let me finagle this a little bit before I tighten the knot. There we go. Just kind of play with it a little bit, and then we'll grab some scissors, cut off our excess. And I have this super cute, isn't that just a sweet little bow? It's so cute. So let me grab some, I've got glue dots up here in front of me. I try to keep the supplies that I use the most often, I try to keep right here within arm's reach, so that, especially if I'm in the middle of a live like this and I have forgotten to grab something. But you know, it just makes crafting easier when we're not constantly searching for supplies that we need, or having to stop and turn and, you know, look for stuff. So just a little tip, if you're moving stuff around your craft room, have it all within arm's reach. So here is our next fun fold, just like that. All right, and I'll bring back, oh wait, I keep forgetting my my embellishments. Okay, so I'll add that and that one, and stick one right there. Okay, so there we've got our fold. Oh, and there's that top flap. So I'll show you the sample one again, because I pulled a different die cut from the ephemera that's in your paper pack. I used this one to put on this, but otherwise the inside is the same. Okay, and last but not least, like I said, we're gonna do a little bit of heat embossing. So I'm just gonna move some things to the side here, clear a little space, and we're gonna do our embossing first. So I'm gonna take my little oval here, and I just realized I need my early espresso ink here as well. Okay, so I'm gonna grab my Versamark and my Stampin' Buddy. I'm just gonna brush this off really quick, make sure that, there we go, left a little powder on my stuff that I was doing the wrong side. How about that? I used my Stampin' Buddy on the wrong side. Sometimes, you know, with certain dies, you can kind of tell that there's a front and back because of the way that the die cuts it out. This is one of those. It has a bit of a different, like a more curved impression on the front than on the back, where it's just very flat. So you could absolutely use either side. But that's what I meant when I said I was embossing buddying on the wrong side. Okay, so I'm going to use this stamp that says Deep Breath. Now, to be honest here, it would be so much easier if I had not die cut first. But because I want to include the die cut in your kit, I'm going to show you how you would do it when you receive your kit. But, pro tip, you really should just stamp this on a piece of early espresso, and then once you've die cut it, or once you have embossed it, then die cut it. Get this lined up. But again, I wanted to include the die cut in your kit, so I have to show you how to use it when it's already die cut. But the beautiful thing about photopolymer stamps is that we can see through them. So we can stamp our Versamark. And I can see that I missed a little bit of my impression on the bottom, so I'm going to attempt to stamp it down there at the bottom just a little bit more. Oh, that's a little better. On a nice dark color like this, you can see your Versamark really well. Now, this image covers like the entire die cut. So I am going to have to use my handy dandy little tweezers here that come in the Stampin' Up! Toolkit. But I'm going to slide this to the edge of my desk so that I can pick it up without getting my fingers on any of the Versamark. Okay, so I've got my piece held. I need my white embossing powder. And I'm just going to sprinkle some embossing powder here all over this. Don't waste your embossing powder. Make sure that you pour it back in your container when you're done. So I'm just going to tap it off gently on my little scrap paper here. And I can see I've got a few extra little marks, so I'm going to carefully use my brush and get those off. And then I've got some excess where my tweezers are, so I'm just gonna take this off for a second and we'll do a little surgical cleaning here. Just real gently, very daintily, is that a word? I don't think so. Because we don't want that extra embossing powder to emboss. So I'm just gonna lightly blow on it. There we go. And I can set my tweezers back on here. Okay, now I'm just gonna set this aside for a moment because I want to pour this back into my container. There we go. We don't want that embossing powder blowing all over the desk when we turn on the heat tool. The heat tool is like a hair dryer on steroids because it is so hot. So I'm going to turn this on and make it a little noisy. And I'm going to start from the back. And it's going to take a second to heat up. But as it does, you'll start to see, I think you'll be able to see it on the video. You'll start to see the white change as it like melts and embosses. So I'm down at the bottom design, and I can see it starting to go. So I'm gonna move around a little bit. And I like to start on the bottom because it just kind of helps it heat up. And then I'm gonna come up here to the front, and I'm on the lowest setting. And the main reason for that is because my piece is so little, I don't want it to blow off of my tweezers. And so I'm just using the lowest setting, which means it's going to take a little bit longer to emboss it. Oh, I can see it starting to change. So I can kind of watch to make sure that all of my sections get melted into a nice impression. Okay, I got the top and I got the first word, so we'll get our second word here. And I just kind of move the heat tool around a little bit till I get all of those little sections. And let's see here. Got one more section here to do. There we go. Now it's starting to go. It's so much quicker if you use the higher setting. This is like tap your foot, have patience kind of setting to do it on the first level. I don't normally do it on number 1, but I don't want my piece to blow away. That would be disastrous. Let's see here, just checking it all. I think I got it all. But we'll give it a once over just to make sure. Okay, I think, whoops, so you can hear that higher setting. Okay, let me just double check myself here. Yep, all right, so here is our heat embossed piece, right there. Deep breath. Kathy, I totally hear where you're coming from. Heat embossing is something I have not done a ton of, but I think it's something that the more you do it, the easier it becomes. So, let's see, trying to see the rest of your comment here. So I think with this, the embossing buddy is definitely super helpful for it. And the other thing is just brushing. The brushing off really does help, but I also don't mind if I have a few pieces here and there of extra embossing. Like this one, I've got some extra down here at the bottom. I've got some extra right here at the top, but to me, it kind of adds to the speckled, glittery type look that you get with embossing. And so, while I suppose some people might say it's not perfect embossing, it's actually just the way I want it, because I love having that extra speckled look to it. So, but otherwise, just trying it and practicing, I think, is really helpful. Also, when you're trying embossing, don't do it like I just did. Do it on a larger piece of paper and then die cut this afterwards. It's just like I said, I wanted to include this die cut in your kit, and so that's why I'm showing you the harder way to do this. All right, so we've got that piece done, and then I also need to, let's see, where's my, I'm gonna go ahead and stamp this as long as I've got a clear space. So I'm gonna use my early espresso, and I'm gonna use You've Got This. And we're going to stamp You've Got This on our card insert. I'm such a fan of photopolymer stamps because it gives me such great placement for my stamps. Now there is a die cut that, you know, matches this. We used it on the bookbinding card, but I just wanted it for my insert. So you can see these two go really well together. All right, so the rest of our pieces here, I'm gonna start with the inside, and we're gonna take a piece of garden green, and I'm going to layer my basic white on the garden green. And then we'll put that on the inside of the card. Oh dear, I might be running out of adhesive. It's a good thing this is our last card. I gotta go find the bag that has my adhesive from this weekend. Okay, so here's the inside of our card, and I'll flip it over. And on this garden green for the front, we are going to lay out our 4 pieces. And no, the middle is not supposed to line up, not with the way that I wanted to cut my pieces. So that is intentional. So I'm just gonna lay these out where I want them. We're gonna leave that small, about 1/8 inch border again. I think that'll work. So I'll just start with one, and we'll tape it down. . there. And then we'll go to the top one. Oops. Let's see here. There we go. We'll add some tape here. There we go. We're just working our way around all of my pieces. You can see the back side is the same. This one happens to be the same as the pattern that we used on our first accordion card. Yes, Kathy, keep practicing. Isn't that just true with so much of our crafting? You know, a lot of it is just practice. Practice, practice, practice. That was, you know, you guys, if you've been around a while, you might remember me and bow tying. I didn't care for bow tying, but the more that I practiced, the more that I don't mind it. And so my current practice is fussy cutting. I'm trying to get better at fussy cutting and maybe come to a point. Oh boy, I've just run out of tape. Let's see here. What? Oh, here we go. I have a solution. I don't normally use green glue on a card like this, but I know some of you are like, just use your green glue. Maybe green glue is the other thing I need to be practicing with, because I just get glue everywhere. And I end up with cards that are a sticky hot mess because they just have glue everywhere. So we'll see how this goes. Okay, so we're going to take our embossed piece and we'll glue that down. So this tag I have die cut for you, but I've also embossed it with the beautiful pattern embossing folder. So it has kind of double texture to it. And I am going to set this on here. See if that gives me some weight. I'm gonna let that sit right there for a moment, because when you're embossing, your paper wants to curl a little bit, so we'll see if I stuck enough glue for it to flatten. But while it's flattening, I'm gonna grab my ribbon again, and I'm gonna tie another ribbon, tie another bow, because this color combination uses this garden green and the white, of course, and so it lends itself naturally to being used with this ribbon. So I'll just cut off my end here. I think I might trim this one just a tiny bit shorter. There we go. Okay, let's see if that flattened enough. Just want to make sure. Yeah, I think that's going to stay flat now that I've glued that down. Okay, and then we will dimensionalize this. We're just going to use all sorts of adhesive here. We have used Stampin' Seal, we've used green glue, we're using dimensionals, we're going to use glue dots. This is the card of many adherents. How's that for a fancy word? Adherents. Okay, so we'll stick this here. Should have found a way to use like a tear and tape, and then I think we'd have just about every type of adhesive on here. Okay, I'm just folding over my glue dot a little bit because this is such a small bow. So I just fold over my glue dot, make it, you know, roly-poly to put that on there. And then I can grab my earthy dots. And I'm just gonna put a trio of them going right up the side next to this tag. So there we go. And then last but not least, we'll just get this guy folded over. Oh, dropping stuff here. Get that just folded over there. And here we have our last card. So deep breath, you've got this. That's what I would say to those of you, I saw a couple of you talking about the heat embossing. Deep breath, you've got this. Just keep practicing. So the other fun folds, so we did some embossing here. We've got a fun fold and another fun fold and another fun fold. I love fun folds, you guys. So I included a whole bunch of them in this month's kit. If you'd like a kit, feel free to use the link in the video. If you just want a one-time purchase of the kit, you can reach out and I'll get you hooked up with just the November kit. And then next month we'll be using the banner sayings and the punch and an embossing folder, so it's gonna be a really cute kit. So all right, you guys, thanks for tuning in for the 8 card kit for November. We'll see you again soon.